right, hello, friends. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for interrupting the first intro of the newest episode of the Memo.
Sorry.
New season.
It's okay, yeah, new season. Hello, everyone. Friends, fans, whatever you are to us, we love you. We're happy to be back. This is the first episode of the Memo in 2019. We made it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We made it to the end of the year. We'll call it Season 2 for fun because, you know, it's a new year. We're looking forward to amping up our content. We're going to try and make it fun, interesting, keep you guys tuning in, try to keep it different, you know, because that's the way to do it. So the past few weeks of the NFL have been very entertaining. There's been some teams that have jumped into the playoffs, that missed out on the playoffs, some heartbreakers. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the wild card matchups coming up. There's a lot of really good ones that we're looking forward to. And also our local teams, the Jets and Giants, their seasons are over. So we want to just touch on them a little bit and what we want to see from them going into next year. So we'll start it off with the wild card predictions. And the first game we have is actually a division matchup, which is the Colts and the Texans. And I like this matchup. I know you guys weren't too crazy about it. You guys don't like the AFC South, but I think
Just done with the division.
yeah, I mean, the division's not all that great, but I think just in terms of a then
It's
you'll
not
cast
the
out everyone.
Jags. Don't talk to me about that division.
This fucking kid.
I'm just saying.
Jaguars.
You see these teams. Whoever wins the division, they are literally a stepping stone for whichever team they play in the playoffs. Except
Jaguars?
Except Jacksonville, who made it to the AFC Championship game.
Last year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If it's not the Jags, don't talk to me because these two teams, we've seen it before, especially the Texans. Fuck, come on with the Texans.
When have the Texans ever
They
been
beat the
a team
Chiefs
like
a few
this?
years ago.
They've been in the playoffs a bunch. And they
Not
just
with
lose.
Deshaun Watson.
They're the same team.
We'll see.
That's why you know who we're picking.
I know who you're picking, and
I'm actually
I know
picking the Texans.
who I'm picking. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm picking the Colts because I'm a big Andrew Luck fan. I love a team with a great O-line. They finally got Luck that great O-line. He's playing out of his mind. He's playing better than he was before he got hurt, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think so. And their D-line, too. Their D-line has been playing really well. And
Wow.
Deshaun Watson's been sacked like 60 times.
39 touchdowns for Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
He's
No, he's
so
having a
ugly, though.
great year. His beard is ridiculous. It's like too long down here and like not enough here.
It's
So he
all
just
neck.
looks like an Amish.
Disgusting looking person.
Weird. Yeah. But
Looks
you know,
a lot like Villani.
that was bad timing to say that.
Andrew
Andrew
I
Luck.
look like Andrew Luck.
We were just
I
talking about
think
how
you do.
hideous he is.
Make it big screen. Let me see that. Let me see this guy.
You like
We'll put it on the
some
screen.
features. Some features.
I can see it.
You definitely don't look just like him.
That's Villani.
That's Villani.
I got like a mouth structure.
Yeah, it's a similar mouths.
That's funny.
No, it's entire face. Except for the eyes.
Teeth.
You
Teeth
see
too.
them
Yeah.
badly. He's handsome. You guys are being.
I like him. I think he's a good
I
player.
think he's.
I think he
Gorgeous football player.
I think he's gonna.
he's obviously great, and like I'm not saying anything like. I think he just makes too many mistakes, like with interceptions and stuff. 15 interceptions, it's almost won a game. Like I've just seen him make some bad decisions, but that's
Yeah,
the only knock that I
but-
would have on his game.
I mean, you could say the same on the other side with Watson. Holds on to the ball really long. He's been sacked so many times, and he's inexperienced. I mean, while Luck has never. I mean, he hasn't won a Super Bowl or anything, obviously, but I'm pretty sure they've been to the AFC Championship. Am I wrong about that?
I
With Luck,
believe
and they
they
got
have.
blown out by the Pats, but still,
Yeah.
he has experience. He's been
Deflategate.
there. What happened?
Deflategate, right?
Oh, that was Deflategate, yeah. Yeah, so I'm taking the Colts. I like what they've done this season, especially after what happened with McDaniels and all that. And they started 1-5. They finished the season 9-1. Literally the opposite of what the Jets did. They lost to the Jets, and then the Jets won one game since then, and the Colts lost one game since then.
Yeah.
So completely different
It's a-
seasons.
So you're going with the Colts?
Yes.
I'm gonna take the Texans. I don't trust the Colts. Like I said, and Luck is great, but I do think outside of Luck they don't really have much going on. Marlon Mack is pretty good, but I mean the offensive line has been excellent.
They're going to get Bell.
They
Next.
they would be a perfect fit for Le'Veon Bell. But I think the Texans are just more complete. They're more ready for right now. And I like Deshaun Watson's ability to extend the plays. He gets sacked a lot, but I've seen him running around making plays still. Like, he gets the job done, and I think that they're just a step ahead of the Colts.
Yeah.
And that schedule, 9-1. Like, I know we talk about schedules being the same and everything, like you said, but I believe there are stretches in a schedule where it's easier than others. Like, it balances out towards the end.
They probably had a similar schedule though.
Well, yeah, and the Texans went 8-0 also. The Texans won like 9 straight after
Mhm.
going 0-3. So they both were kind of hot, streaky teams. But I guess that schedule, like, there was nobody really. Their signature win came against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So they're still
I
unproven.
mean, that was a good win though, and they beat the Texans.
Shut out the Cowboys.
Texans.
Yeah. I mean, you know what Luck's gonna do. He's a great quarterback. Averaging 1 pick a game, he could probably throw a pick and they could still win this game. But I think the big thing is when the Colts play best when their run game is going. So in their 6 losses, they ran for 100 yards in only one of those games. So you gotta think if they're gonna get the run game going, they have a good chance to win this game. Texans have the 3rd best running defense in the league in terms of yards. I'm going to go with the Texans. I agree with pretty much everything Matt said. More complete team. Watson is dynamite back there. I'm excited to see what he's able to do in the playoffs, and I think the Texans are going to win this
Houston's
game.
also 4th in the league in takeaways as a defense.
That's big.
So they can definitely force you to turn the ball over.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the I think it's one of the toss-up games. I think they're both
for sure.
pretty
I could
close.
see either
The
team
divisional
wins.
matchup
And
can go
what
either way.
The Cowboys game is honestly what's kind of leading me to take the Colts, because the way that O-line was able to handle like the Cowboys defense and DeMarcus Lawrence and that pass rush, and then how their D-line was able to go at, and while they're missing Frederick and their O-line hasn't been like years past the Cowboys, that they manhandled the Cowboys offensive line.
Yeah.
And obviously, I just said before, the Texans O-line is not great, and I think they can win game. Especially the Texans secondary, they're old, they're not that good. I think you're going to see Luck have a big day, but I think it's going to be a good matchup. I'm excited for it.
No, I go back on what I was saying about the game. I'm excited for this one. It's playoff football, so really you should be getting excited about all the matchups. But
I can't get excited about a Texans game. I just don't. They're just a
I like the
boring
Texans
team.
too. I mean,
they're not like the Texans of years past.
Yeah, I like them, and
I guess that's true with Watson.
I mean, I said a few episodes ago that I actually thought they were somewhat of a sleeper, but then they ran into my boy Luck, so their story ends here.
It'll be a close game. I think whichever team wins is just going to be destroyed by the Chiefs. If
Yeah.
that's who they play. But no, it's nice. One of them will finally be able to get themselves a playoff win.
Yeah, it's funny. He's on my fantasy team 1 year. He's my best friend, Andrew Luck. I just love him now, and I didn't even make the playoffs.
He's gonna ball out. He's gonna have a good game. But I just think,
I think he's going to need to.
yeah,
Because that Texans run defense is very stout.
Yeah.
I think it'll be pretty high scoring. Both teams can score.
Mm-hmm.
Defenses aren't the greatest. But
Yeah, pretty middle of the road. I mean, they're both around the top 10 in almost all the categories, but they like in one category they fall out or like here and there.
the Texans defense should be a lot better.
Yeah,
with
it's the
names that they
secondary
have.
is just it's not that great.
Yeah.
Yeah, their corners are pretty old.
Do they still have Jonathan Joseph?
I feel like they do, but I also don't want to confirm that without. Let's
Let's give it a look.
I know Tyrann Mathieu has been pretty good for them. I think.
I think so.
No, yeah, well, but one player, yeah, he's
Still on the Texans.
he's on the
yeah.
Texans, yeah. And he's old. I mean, he's 34.
Yeah,
Is he that old? Wow.
Yeah.
it's been there
so
for a
that's
while.
that's the first matchup of the weekend. That's gonna be cool.
Okay.
I like
So
that
2
one.
Texans, 1 Colts.
Yep. And-
Joseph is also not healthy, dealing with a neck injury.
Okay.
Probable.
It looks like he's gonna play, but
But he's been
He's not.
playing the season.
yeah.
All right. So next, Cowboys Seahawks. That's that looks like
Another toss-up.
yeah. That looks
they-
like one of those defensive battles right there.
Did they not play in the playoffs like one of these last 2 seasons, or did I make that up?
When
I think
was
it
it when the
was-
Cowboys were the 1 seed?
Were they
No.
1 seed?
The Packers
When
beat
they were
them.
like when
They were
Zeke
13-3.
Dak were rookies.
The Packers beat them though on a game-winning
Oh
field goal.
yes. So yeah, I don't think they played them. Unless did they? Maybe it was back when Romo was still there.
Not sure, but
These
These are-
look like a familiar matchup.
yeah. they played earlier this season. The Seahawks won that game. I think it was like 24-13. But that was early in the season before the Cowboys had Cooper, before they started to really turn things around. But I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. Two pretty similar teams. They both like to run the ball. But quite simply, I'm going to take the team that has the better quarterback in this one. And there's no doubt in my mind that that's Russell Wilson. He's been there before. Won Super Bowls, of course. Won Super Bowl?
Yes, won, and then lost to the Patriots.
Yeah. I just think the Seahawks are going to come out on top in this one. The Cowboys are a good home team. I think this is going to be a good game, but I like what the Seahawks are doing. Pretty good team all around, complete team. Defense is a little shaky, but I'm not so worried about the Cowboys' offense. I think the Seahawks are going to win this one.
I'm not going to go too in depth because I basically wrote everything that you said. The run game and Russell Wilson is what's putting me over the top here. I think he's incredible, and I think
one of the best
now that
quarterbacks in the league.
And definitely top 5 in my opinion. Maybe not this season in terms of statistics, but now that they're in the playoffs, it's basically a new season. Anything can happen, and
they're not a team that was expected to be.
No,
this
I
good.
thought they were going to be bad.
They have a bunch of good wins.
Yeah,
they beat the Vikings, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Panthers, they beat the Packers.
Yeah,
the Cowboys once. We mentioned that already. But I'm going to take Dallas. They're kind of the team that I've been hot on the past few weeks, so I'm going to stick with that. You mentioned it. The X factor to me is them being at home. I think that Dak plays really well at home. They can establish the run game. They can do their thing, and then that's like their calling card.
Yeah.
As far as the Seahawks go, and I'll never count out Russell Wilson. He is great, and if anyone's going to be able to take their team on a run like that, it would be Russell Wilson. But I'm just looking at the run game specifically. I know that Seattle is that's their best thing is their run game, but Dallas is actually very good at stopping the run. They're 5th fewest rush yards per game as a defense.
True.
So that's good. And then both of these guys get sacked a lot. 2nd and 3rd in the league. Dak's 2nd. Wilson's 3rd in the league in sacks. But Seattle doesn't really generate much pass rush outside of I honestly don't even know who they have on defense. But I know that
Michael Bennett anymore.
Yeah, that's who I was going to say. But then I realized he's not there. But Dallas does get after the quarterback with DeMarcus Lawrence, and they have some linebackers that can rush. So I think that making Wilson uncomfortable will be a key for them. I like Dallas. I think Dak's having one of his best seasons. He's only had 3 seasons, but I think he's having a low key
he started
really
off
good
on
year.
a very high bar, so
Yeah, but he's having low key a very efficient season. He only threw 8 picks, I think.
Yeah.
And he can when he's feeling it, he's exploded for a couple games on offense.
Oh, absolutely.
And he looked really good against the Giants last week. So we'll see. I like
for 455 against the Eagles.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was when Cooper went nuts too.
Yeah.
Cooper actually has had a quiet couple games now, but I do think that the Cowboys will be able to at least get themselves one playoff win.
Yeah.
Frank Clark has 14 sacks for the Seahawks. And their other starting DN, if one of you can guess it, I'll give you $10. He was a top 5 draft pick, not drafted by them.
Oh, I know who it is. It's it's Deion Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was such a boss at Oregon.
Yeah.
How
He's
many
not very
sacks does he
good.
have?
Frank Clark has 14, but Deion Jordan has 1.5.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
I
they
thought it was
don't really generate much pass rush,
Yeah,
which is good
it's-
because the Cowboys' offensive line has fallen off. Second
Yeah, I mean,
most sacks
that's what I
in the
was
league,
just-
which is surprising.
Yeah, well,
And Zeke still
they're-
leads the league in rushing.
They
so
lost Frederick and did Martin.
Martin missed a couple games.
Yeah, he's back though. Right?
And Tyrone Smith has been hurt.
Yeah.
He's been banged up.
But
Frederick is
Frederick
back
was-
now, right?
No.
What? He's not back.
No, I
No, he
made
still
that up.
has that.
Okay.
He might never play again.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But that goes to show you, for everyone who was saying that's why Zeke was so good because
Oh,
of their
no.
line, he still led the league in rushing this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty low key too. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I did not know that.
All right,
He's great, and he'll have a week off because he didn't play last week.
yeah.
So I think he'll be
It'll
a
be a good
big
game.
force.
Yeah,
Well,
this is,
all these wild card games are really good.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, it's the playoffs. It's gonna be some
The
good
matchups you
matchups.
want.
I mean, this isn't the same Seahawks defense as
No, of
years
course.
past. You could run on this defense. You could throw on this
Mhm.
defense.
they win
It's not
in
stout.
different ways now. Now it used to be Wilson was young, defense was shut out, and he just did enough for them to win games. But
Yeah.
now he's
Now he's
the
carrying
reason
the
they
team.
win. But
He's great.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's not like last year where you have Jaguars, Bills in the wild card round.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no games like that. All right. Next up.
Wars.
This is the one that we got a nice little
Big
rematch
game.
here. Big game. You know, Matt's looking forward to this one. Ravens,
Terrified
Chargers.
about this game.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Terrified.
Sure you are.
Don't show them weakness, man.
Terrified.
You know what happened last time when you were terrified?
They won.
Chargers won.
They won. Yeah.
So
we'll
maybe
see.
you should be terrified.
We'll see.
Yeah, so
You have to watch this one from a bar in Atlantic City.
yeah, we've debated Lamar Jackson. We've talked about the Ravens. We've talked about the Chargers. I've been on the Lamar Jackson side of that argument, but when it comes to this game, I think he's coming up short, and I think the Ravens are coming up short. I think the Chargers are too good of a team to lose like that again to the Ravens, especially with a rookie quarterback in there. I think the entire team will step up and play. I expected them to play way better than they did last time. I didn't get to watch the whole game. I know you did, and you were saying you've never seen a defense play like that before. And
Rivers did absolutely nothing.
I think
No
Rivers
run
will.
game.
I think Rivers will be on his game. They'll have Gordon back. While he might not be 100% healthy, it's still a threat. There's talks of Henry playing, and like we
Probably
were
gonna
saying,
play.
yeah, probably going to play. Like we were saying, we're not going to expect him to go in and have 10 catches for 150 yards, but just him being there in general.
Still got to account for
Yeah,
him.
just you got to watch out. And the Chargers have the veterans. I think they're the better overall team. They can win in more ways than the Ravens can, and I'm taking them in this rematch. So that's me.
Appreciate that. I'm taking the Chargers as well. I'm going to show some pride for once. But the way to beat the Chargers is big plays, often like through the air because their secondary is suspect. Like Casey Hayward had a down year. Jaleel Adai is the worst player in the league.
He's the one that did the pitch the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you see that, by
No.
the way?
Dude, that was so
Dude, he
bad.
picked off the ball in the end zone, and he starts running with it. Like, he runs out of the end zone. He got to, like, around the 20, so, like, that wasn't the issue. But then he just turns and flicks it to Desmond King, who wasn't even looking. Like, he just couldn't go down. He wanted to make the pitch, and then the Broncos picked it up. And, like,
Yeah,
they
he just bounced off
just
the guy's
negated
chest.
it right away. It's ridiculous. And it was right
Isn't-
after he let up a huge, big play downfield, too. So everyone was, like, pissed
Yeah.
off. And then he gets the pick and then
And
does that.
It's funny that you say the only way to beat them is big plays because didn't Jackson throw that touchdown
Yeah.
over him to that tight end
Yes.
for that
Yes. It was
long
a
touchdown?
terrible
there-
defense.
Is
on
he
that
their
play.
safety?
Yeah, he's their safety out next to Derwin. So that's
And that was a good throw.
It
That was
a good
not-
throw.
he
that was
took
not
just
that bad
it was a
coverage.
terrible angle that he took to make the stop, and like he just ended up chasing him.
That was a tough throw, though. That was probably the
But-
best throw I've seen Jackson make.
Yeah, so that's the way you beat the Chargers is big plays, often through the air. Sure, like if you get gashed up the middle, like yeah, that's gonna hurt any team. But they do have a suspect secondary. But I'm not afraid of Lamar Jackson, really doing anything through the air. And I think that if the Chargers, having just seen them play, I mean, obviously, there's the air of like the aura of unknown with Lamar Jackson the first time you see him play. Having just played him, I think that they'll have a much better defensive game plan. Again, they only gave up 15 points on offense to them. They had a fumble return for a touchdown, which was where they got their 22 from. But yeah, I just don't. I think that they're going to be much more prepared for Lamar Jackson, and then we'll see what Rivers can do on offense. They have too many weapons to get stopped for 10 points.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything you guys are saying. Big thing here, I think, is the experience. Rivers obviously has played in multiple playoffs, and not that he's played that well in the playoffs, but he's been there before. Jackson struggles. Say what you will about him, he's inaccurate. He's not a good passer. It's playoff time. You can't really have that. You need to be a great quarterback to win games in the playoffs.
If
And
only they had a guy on their bench who could throw the ball.
dude, don't talk to me about Joe Flacco.
All right?
That guy
There's some
sucks.
guy
dude.
with some playoff experience. They could really use that.
He sucks, dude.
This guy with a ring or something.
They've been winning games.
Oh, they have Joe Flacco. That's right. Get him in the game.
And they're way better when he's not
they
in.
sucked when he was playing, and now they're good when he's not. So
What are they,
that's
6-1
the thing.
without him?
Crazy.
I think 7-1.
Something.
I might have made that up.
I think
No,
it's
I think it's
6-1.
6-1.
I'm
Idiot.
making a lot of things up today. Anyway,
It's nice when you play terrible defenses, isn't it?
play the Chargers.
Yeah.
You beat them.
Yeah, they scored 15
You're
points.
gonna make me pick the Ravens right now?
I want you guys to pick the Ravens. You both know you want to.
I'm not falling for that.
No, I want the Ravens to win, but I'm picking the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm not going with the Ravens here. I'm not falling for that. It's so good, but they're playing with Jackson.
Fuck
He's going to make some mistakes. They're going to have to rely on that defense, and they got an unfortunate draw with the Chargers, who are arguably second best team in the AFC.
Chargers got a bad draw too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to play the Ravens.
Well, they had to play someone.
Yeah.
The Chargers are
12-4 going to Baltimore.
That sucks.
Sucks, but I think they're going to come out on top in this one. Rivers is used to the pressure, much more experienced team. They're 7-1 on the road, so it's not like it's a huge disadvantage for them to be playing in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to come out on top in this one.
It's weird. I was talking to you about this stat before. As far as like the Ravens defense goes, I guess their pass rush is their best. Their run defense is their best asset. But they are like middle of the road in sacks, and they have almost twice as many sacks on the road than they do at home. So I don't know where a stat like that, like what the reason for that would be.
The Chargers?
No, the Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens.
They pass rush much better on the road. I don't know if that's like a game plan thing, but if Rivers has time, I think that the weapons will have a ability to get open eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to keep Rivers upright because they sacked him 4 times when they played 2 weeks ago. When he's under pressure, he's bad.
He's got to stay on his feet.
Yeah,
Can't be having him get hit.
and he's got to have clean pockets. Like he'll make bad throws when he's rushed.
They just got to focus on stopping the run.
Yeah,
Stopping the run, keep Rivers upright.
yeah.
That's
It's all
the
about
key.
the game plan. I think that they'll be much better prepared. Anthony Lynn is gonna have the guys prepared.
All right, yeah. So we got all 3 Chargers.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And and while we've been saying, me and Alex, like Jackson's gonna make his mistakes, and we've said before we're fans of him. I still think he's gonna end up being good, and I think he will develop into a decent passer to complement his running. I don't think he'll ever be as good of a passer. Just to compare him to his rookie counterparts like Darnold and Mayfield, I don't think he'll ever be on that level. But I'm just saying the reason he'll be one of the reasons they lose just because he's so like raw and young. I'm not saying
it's nothing against him. He's played 8 games in the league.
He's the youngest quarterback to ever start a playoff game.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I'm still a big fan of him. So if anyone's a Jackson fan thinking I'm shitting on him, I still
It's just
have
getting
faith.
carried by the defense.
We'll see.
even though they're the higher seed, there's no doubt they're the underdog here.
They're -2.5.
Sorry.
They're favored in Vegas.
They're favored?
2.5.
It's less than 3, so
They
that's saying something.
Yeah, and they just beat them. That's why. Like that sucks.
All right, that's going to be cool. It's going to be a good matchup. All right, on to the last playoff matchup, and we have Bears-Eagles. Bears-Eagles, which I think is the worst matchup of the 4.
On paper.
I think, on paper.
I like
think
this game.
The Bears are going to dominate them. I don't care what Foles. I don't care if he threw for 400 whatever yards the other day. The magic is gone. The Eagles are done. I don't think it's not happening again. It's not
just
people
what they
are
want
saying
you to hear.
3 weeks ago.
It's just
not
what the Eagles
happening
want you to
again.
say.
I think the Bears are going to dominate the Eagles, blow them out.
The magic
No
is
shot.
not gone. They just got themselves back into the playoffs by switching to Foles.
Yeah,
and he
we'll
had
see.
2 good games.
They didn't switch to him.
Well, putting him in, start going to Nick Foles, being
'Cause
forced to go to Nick Foles. But that there's something about Nick Foles, man, with the Eagles.
And I do think the Eagles are better than most people give them credit for. They obviously got off to a slow start. Wentz was not healthy all year.
No.
I think that they can beat
Very
any team
evident.
and they can lose to any team, which is rare to have a team that does that. But that's what I think when I see the Eagles. You just don't know which team's showing up.
Well, that's what you get when you get a team that's experienced, been there before. But I agree with Richard. I don't think the Bears are going to dominate them. Maybe on the defensive side of the ball for sure. But I think the Bears are going to win this one. It's going to be a handed victory. It's not going to be a close game, I don't think.
You'll know that the Bears won from the first quarter.
Yeah. They haven't given up. Their defense is just so good. They haven't given up more than 20 points since week 13, and they played the Rams. Like, they played some good offenses. And when that offense is when it's sputtering, as it will do when you have a second-year quarterback back there, the defense shows up every week and scores points. So that's something you need to account for. Foles is playing well, but he is what he is. Like the magic, like Richard said, it's going to run out eventually. He's going to make mistakes, and if any defense is going to capitalize, it's the Bears.
And he has bad games.
Yeah.
He had some bad games at the end.
Foles? Yeah.
At the end of last season when they won the Super Bowl, and when Wentz got hurt, he had bad games at the end of the season. And
Shows up, though.
He does, but he also had the first who'd they play in their first playoff game because they had the bye. I forgot who they played, but he did not play that well in that game.
They beat Atlanta.
They beat Atlanta, but he did not play that well. He has bad games. I think the Bears are too good of it. The Bears are one of the best teams in the NFC.
And they're one of the more consistent teams in the league. Like there hasn't been any stretch of this season where it was like, it looks like the Bears are falling off. Like from week 1,
even when Trubisky was
what
hurt,
they were in week 17. You know
exactly.
Yeah, they did lose to the Giants when Trubisky was hurt.
But they still were able to compete.
I think this game's going to come down to turnovers with Foles and Trubisky, like both guys who make mistakes, defenses who are opportunistic. We saw what Philly's defense is capable of last year on their playoff run, and I'm riding with Philly. I'm gonna take
the Eagles.
I'm gonna take the Eagles. There's something about Nick Foles that just works. Nick Foles and Doug Peterson, they've got something going there. And I've been iffy on the Bears. I've been back and forth with the Bears all season.
How though? Their
defense is great.
They've been playing.
They're in a lot of one-score games, close games, and when you have that in the playoffs with a young quarterback against a team that's very experienced, as we all know, I'm just more inclined to trust Philly. I think.
I was thinking before we started recording. I was saying it to Alex. It kind of reminds me of when the Rams played the Falcons last year, and it was just that young up-and-coming team everyone's excited about, and then they run into that experienced team, and it's just
that's a good comparison, actually.
Yeah, but I just think the Bears, the Rams defense was not as good as this Bears defense is right now, and
I think it's a different situation because the Rams were relying on. They are relying on a young second-year quarterback. It's a pretty similar situation, but I feel like that's more that situation with the young upcoming team playing an experienced team. That's more applicable, I feel like, with the Chargers-Ravens game.
Yeah. And also Matt Ryan is way better than Nick Foles, so that's also a difference.
But they literally did this last year. I'm gonna just ride with it until it doesn't.
How often does lightning strike twice in the same spot?
You ever hear about that guy? He got struck
Nick Foles.
He got struck. He got up and started walking. Got struck again.
Really? Was that man named Nick Foles?
It was Nick Bowles. I don't fucking know.
We'll get to Bowles later.
Yeah.
I know I keep bringing up teams' records at home and on the road. The Bears are a really good team at Soldier Field. They're 7-1.
It's a tough place to play.
Really tough place to play. I'm sure it'll be cold. Not that the Eagles aren't used to playing in the cold, but it's going to be a hostile environment there.
Why do the Bears just have to have a good defense?
Always.
Whenever the Bears are good, it's
typical.
The defense.
85 Bears.
Yeah. I thought it was the 86 Bears.
85 Bears.
Oh, no, it's the 96 Bulls that I'm thinking of.
Idiot.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
I don't know.
Jordan played strong safety. You didn't know.
I like Nick Foles. There's something about
the Bears, man.
Matt's
good
got
fucking
a lot to
team.
say
There's
about
still something
Nick
about the
Foles.
Bears I don't like.
What don't you like about them?
I don't know. I don't know if Trubisky can come up big.
Does he need to, though?
Yeah, I don't think he'll.
Foles is coming up big.
You know what his nickname is, right?
You know what his nickname is. I don't want to say it.
That's the wild card matchups for this weekend. It's gonna be really cool. We're gonna be in Atlantic City while this is happening. So
get some good footage of that.
Yeah, we'll be losing all our money while everyone's winning money on their bets on these games.
Yep.
But
if you want to come out and see us, we're gonna be in AC. We'll be signing autographs.
Yeah,
outside of
baby.
Caesars.
You can get a free hat.
Never gonna be
Psych,
swarmed.
can't get it. Yeah, swarmed by all our fans.
Yeah, just to wrap up the playoff preview, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do a little bit of we'll each go around. We'll give a sleeper pick, a team that should be on upset alert, and then we'll throw in a quick Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah.
I'll start off with a sleeper or a dark horse, I guess is a better word, because they're all in the playoffs. They're not really sleepers. Dark horse that can like go on a run could be Philly, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys, and I mentioned them already, so I'm not going to touch too much on them. But I do like what they have going on both sides of the ball, and I had picked them a couple weeks back to upset the Rams in the second round, so I'm going to stick with that. And you guys will be wearing Dak Prescott jerseys in a couple weeks. But I like Dallas. I think that they can surprise people. When you have a defense like that, you're going to be in every game. It's up to Dak to kind of come through.
Yeah, I kind of regret taking that bet because I mean we're gonna get to our teams on upset alert. Let me stop.
No, you can go.
But my sleeper pick is gonna be the Seahawks. Going on the road.
One of us is going to be wrong real quick.
One of us is gonna be wrong this weekend. But yeah, Seahawks, good team, pretty complete team. I like teams that are able to get the running game going, and there's pretty much no team in the league that's able to do that like the Seahawks. They have the quarterback who's been there before. They have multiple players on the team who have been there before, experienced. I think the Seahawks can make a run.
All right, cool. I wanted to do the Seahawks, but just to spice everything up, I decided I'm going to go with the Colts, who I said most of what I had to say about them before. But I love how they shored up that O-line in front of Andrew Luck, and I love how he's playing this season. I think the run game's decent. I think the defense is good enough that they can surprise a few teams, catch them off guard. And I just think with a quarterback like that, anything can happen.
It's crazy the Colts turnaround with the offensive line.
Yeah.
They literally went from the worst to the best in one season.
They have 2 starting rookies.
Crazy.
Nelson, who they drafted 6th overall this year, and the other guy, I forgot his name, but he's a tackle.
Absolutely.
And he's good. Beast. They drafted him later. I don't know if he might have been undrafted.
Some teams on upset alert. It's kind of...
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
What are we doing? Are we holding it to 1 or 2 seeds?
Yeah, I think...
Would my Bears pick qualify?
As a sleeper team?
Upset alert?
It would be considered an upset. They're
getting a lot of love for like Super Bowls and stuff like that.
Absolutely be an upset.
So
yeah.
Okay, but aside from that, the real team that I think needs to be worried and be on upset alert is the New England Patriots. There's just so many teams in the AFC that have high-powered offenses, and Brady hasn't really had the best year. He's thrown the most interceptions he's thrown since 2013. Of course, Tom Brady, playoffs, Belichick, whatever, say what you want, that's going to run out, and I've been saying it for weeks. They're just better at football teams all across the board with offense and defense. And I think that they're in a position where they're going to get stuck playing the Chargers or the Ravens or the Colts. All 3 of those teams, I think, could give them a really tough game. And I think that the Pats are toast this year.
Yeah, I mean,
they should be on upset alert.
You're absolutely right about the talent on the roster, but I don't know. I'm not prepared to.
Injured Gronk, no more Gordon. Like, who is he throwing the ball?
Losing
to?
Gronk had a really big effect on this team. He was their security
nowhere
blanket.
near the same player.
No, not even close. He looks slow.
He's a terrible strong safety.
Watching him play is like,
it's kind of sad.
It's just like, geez, he's not the same at all.
He's a bad strong safety. He's got nothing going.
He's only 29.
Can't come up and make a play.
His body's probably like 45.
Yeah, he 682 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He's a prime.
3 touchdowns is what's
candidate.
surprising.
That's bad.
Yeah.
He's not getting open in the red zone even.
Slow.
He had no catches versus the Bills. He didn't even do anything against the Jets. He's had 4 catches in the past 3 weeks.
I mean, it would be typical Patriots for him to just go off in their first game.
But it's not it's not even like Brady's not getting him the ball. It's not even like they're not throwing to him. Just watching him, you can just tell
lost the step.
He just can't. He's just not the same.
I'm just not. I don't feel comfortable picking against them because it's just happened too many times. People count them out, and then they make a run to the Super Bowl, just like last year.
Yeah.
But my team on upset alert is the Rams, and kind of surprising myself because I was very big on the Rams for the whole season. And just these last few weeks, it just looks like they're not the same. They went 2-2 in their last 4 games, and the only 2 wins were against the two worst teams in the league statistically.
They locked up their division a long time ago, though.
Yeah, but
Haven't really been playing for much.
that's true. But
you still have to be.
yeah, you
on
gotta
your
be
game.
you gotta be in playoff form, and I think they might run into some trouble in the second round. Goff still has he won a playoff game? No, did he?
No, they lost to
They
the.
lost in the second round. They
lost in the wild card round to the
Yeah, they
to
didn't
the
win.
Falcons last year.
All right.
That's the only time they've been in the playoffs.
Yeah, so he's pretty inexperienced when it comes to the playoffs. It looks like they've been sputtering a bit here, and you don't want to see a team. This is the worst time to lose steam.
Yep.
Coming off 2 very easy wins against the 49ers and the Cardinals, literally the 2 worst teams in the league.
Top 2 picks.
They're gonna have a week off. Looks like they might be getting a little rusty, and then they're gonna have to run into the Bears or
Probably the Bears.
the Bears.
If the Bears
Who
win,
they
then
lost to.
it is the Bears.
Yeah, if the Bears win, it is the Bears. But I think any of those teams besides the Eagles can give them a run for their money. Can
It's
they?
a good thing
Can
that
they?
they're going to be playing the Eagles then.
They can't play
No,
the
they
Eagles.
can't. They can't.
They can't even play the Eagles. So I think the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Seahawks can all give them a run for their money. So Rams on upset alert.
I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs,
Ooh.
and my reasoning is because when Andrew Luck and the Colts win, they will play the Chiefs, and you got the most pass-heavy and very effective passing offense going against the worst secondary in the NFL, against a second-year quarterback, against a team that notoriously chokes in the playoffs, and a head
against
coach.
the Colts.
Did it to the Colts, yep.
Yep, yeah, exactly. And that's my team on upset alert, the Chiefs, because they're in the way of the Amish beard luck.
I
Mike
pray
the
the
Lucky.
Colts win, so the Chargers
no.
can play the Pats and not the Chiefs.
Yeah, that would be good.
But
Yeah, it's and also it's not even just Mahomes is inexperienced. There's a lot of young talent on that team that I can see getting to their head and just kind of falling apart. We'll see though.
okay,
We'll
so
see.
that leaves us with our Super Bowl predictions. We'll make it real short. I'm going to go Chargers over Saints. Finally.
My matchup is the same, so I'll just throw it in there. But I'm gonna pick the Saints over the Chargers just to spice things up for fun.
I'm gonna go Saints over the Chiefs.
All right.
2 1 seeds.
So all 3 of us have the Saints in there, and 2 of us have the Chargers. 1 of us has the Chiefs, and both of us, me and Alex, have the Saints winning, and Matt.
It'll be the
we didn't
Pats.
even have to.
They'll win.
Yeah, it'll be
They'll win
Pat.
the
It'll
Super
be
Bowl.
like Pat's Cowboys or some annoying shit. Yeah, so that's the upcoming weekend. We're gonna talk more about the playoffs because we're not gonna be right about everything except for me. So probably will.
A few years ago, I almost had a perfect bracket, and I will not stop bringing that up.
What game did you get wrong?
I got wrong the Cowboys. The Cowboys losing to, I forget who it was, but it was the game that Dez had caught it, whatever. And if he had caught that ball, I would have had a perfect bracket. So
All right,
you
clinging
guys
to
can
the
all
past.
bow down to me now.
Clinging to the past like always, huh?
Bringing up his Super Bowl.
All right, so that's the wild card weekend
Super
coming up.
Bowl
It's
ring?
going to be fun.
Fantasy.
I
Yeah,
have 3 of them, so I think it's warranted.
these kids can't.
Thing is a perfect rider, but
Just always remember. Okay.
I hope the mics pick that up. All right, so we're gonna move on this second half here, and what we're gonna talk about, like we said earlier in the intro, the Jets and Giants are 2 local teams. Both their seasons are over, and it did not go the way either team really wanted it to go. I mean, the Giants sold this year as a win now year. We're gonna continue with Eli. We'll draft Barkley. We think we can compete right now. The Jets, while nobody really expected them to make the playoffs or make any really sort of noise, they were 5-11 last year. We expected some sort of improvement, and they ended 4-12. So the Jets got worse. The Giants didn't do what they were selling everyone on.
I owe Matt some
And-
money. Right?
Oh, for you bet the
Five
Jets
and
would
a
have
half-
over 5
and a half
wins, right?
wins.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
it didn't look good for me for a while there. You're like, weren't they like 3-3?
They were 3-3, and I said before they were 3-3. They beat the Colts to get to their third win, and then they went 1 and whatever
10.
the rest of the way, 1-9,
1-9.
and then the Colts went 9-1.
Wow.
I want to start with the Giants though, just because I want to finish it off with the Jets because there'll be a little more passion in there. So, we're sort of going to talk about what do we think, like where do they go from here, obviously, and there's two big questions with the Giants, at least that I think, and three. I'm going to throw in three. What are you going to do with Eli? What are you going to do with Landon Collins? And what's the deal with Odell? Do you want him on the team? Or
What
are
do
you
you mean,
trying
what
to?
are you going to do with Landon
Is he an
He's a free-
unrestricted free agent?
I think are they going to bring him back? Because there's talk of they might not bring him back. So are you going to bring back Landon Collins, or are you going to move on and try and address other areas?
I think they'll tag Collins.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I think they have to.
I think they should.
Best player on that
So
defense.
yeah,
easily.
that's one of the lesser questions, but it's more what is happening with Eli? Are you going all in on Eli? And what is happening with Odell? Are you gonna back up? You just signed him to this huge deal. Or are you gonna back that up and keep rolling with him? Or there's some people are saying that they're looking at maybe trading him, which we've heard before.
That
but
would be a mistake if they
Yes,
trade
I
Odell.
agree.
That would be such a mistake. But the biggest thing is obviously Eli. I think that there's enough talent on the team that they can give him another year, but I think that you have to have the backup plan ready. Like you have to draft a quarterback with number 6. That's what I would do. Get Haskins, let Eli start the season, see what happens, but don't be afraid to switch it over to Haskins if he's ready.
I think if Haskins is there, you take him, but I think it would be a big mistake for this team to trade up for Haskins. I think Haskins is good, but there's a lot of question marks around him. I don't think they should be trading away their draft capital. A team that's so far away from competing, I don't think they should be trading away draft capital to trade up for a question mark at quarterback. If somebody jumps them and takes Haskins, fine. Go with someone else. Go with a defensive player. Go with a lineman. Go with Jonah Williams. He's really good. He would be a good value at number 6, I think. I don't think they should reach for a quarterback this year because I think Eli has another decent season in him if they can shore up that offensive line. You know, he didn't play that bad. I mean, he's obviously not their long-term answer, and I don't think they should plan to compete with him, but I don't think they should be reaching for a quarterback. I think they got to give Eli one more season.
What if you trade Odell to the 49ers, move up to number 2, and take Haskins?
I don't think they should trade Odell.
I don't think that's gonna
He's
happen.
one of the best players in the league.
And you can keep the 6th pick.
Someone's gonna. I could definitely see the 49ers trading down. I could see the Jets trading down.
The Niners should trade down.
It still seems to me like the Giants want to win now. What Shermer said about Eli like a week ago, I think it was a week ago, he said, I think Eli still has a lot of years left in him. And looking at last draft, when some people said is one of the best quarterback draft classes in however many years, 5 guys in the first round, and they didn't take one. So why would I don't know why anyone would expect them to be going crazy over any of these guys coming in now who don't really even they're not graded as well as like Mayfield, Darnold, guys like that. And I definitely don't see them trading up for a guy. And I've been saying I don't think the roster is bad enough, and I think Shermer's a good enough coach that I don't think if they don't draft a quarterback this year, they're going to be a decent team, I think. And they won't be in a position unless they trade up to draft a top guy. I'm talking about the 2020 draft, which would have like Tua and Herbert and all these other guys. And the best case scenario for them at this point, I think, and the only thing standing in the way of this is Eli's 1 year left on his deal, is going after a guy like Bridgewater or Foles and just trying to have an immediate successor for a few years while you're paying Odell this money, and the fact that they drafted Saquon 2nd overall, he's one of the highest paid running backs in the league already, just from that. And like while you have these guys in their prime, I think they're still clearly going to try and win now. And like I said, they're not going to be in a position to draft a top quarterback unless they sell the farm at some point. And I just think you go after a guy like Bridgewater. You don't let Eli start the season. You start someone like Bridgewater. You give him like a 2-3 year deal. He's 26 years old. That's what the Jets did last year. They brought him in before they traded up to 3rd overall. So they were saying basically if they didn't know they were going to trade up, they were like, if someone doesn't fall to us, like we're gonna draft whoever. Maybe they would have drafted Nelson, someone, and we're gonna roll with Bridgewater. He's gonna be our future. I think he could be a decent player. I think he's someone you could maybe rely on for a few years. I know that's not the answer everyone would want. Everyone would want to draft a young quarterback. But my point of view, just from what I'm seeing and the talent on the roster, I just don't see them being bad enough to ever get that guy. So I think their answer is somewhere in catching a veteran, a somewhat younger veteran to lead the team for a few years, see what happens.
I don't think that's the way to go because, tying up money in a quarterback now, like, they already have so much money elsewhere. Like, if you have to address the Collins situation, you have Odell and Barkley making a lot of money. They made Nate Solder the highest left tackle, Olivier Vernon one of the highest defensive ends.
But that also is what puts them in win-now mode.
It is what puts them in win-now mode. But Eli is coming off one of his most efficient seasons. His most yards he's posted in a while, highest ever completion percentage, lowest interceptions in the past 5-6 seasons.
That's
what confuses me is because he obviously had a decent year after they thought they improved the O-line and it was complete garbage. And I think they're still at 6 overall. I think they're going to be looking to draft more linemen. I think they're going to be looking to put more guys to protect Eli. And that's just going to make the team better. The offense is going to get better. Like, they're not going to be bad.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think that's a fine problem to have.
But what if they make the playoffs or something? They're not going to trade up from wherever to the top 5, top 10.
If you need a quarterback and Eli's gone, the Chiefs and Texans did it for Mahomes and Watson.
And good
if you need a quarterback, you'll go get one. And
good teams.
But Mahomes and Watson are. How often does that happen that you find guys good?
Well, you don't know. You don't know when you draft them that they're that good. They were taking chances.
All the good teams are finding and developing good QBs and not in the first 5 picks.
Yeah,
you
get a second, third round guy.
You got Watson, you got Mahomes, you got Dak went in the 3rd round. A lot of these guys.
Dak went 5th.
Roethlisberger went
5th
late.
round.
Yeah.
Oh, Dak went in the 5th. Rodgers went late. I know that was a long time ago. But
Pretty sure it was the 3rd round.
You can find a guy late in the draft, and if you develop him right, let him sit for a year behind Eli Manning.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But that's all. It's a lottery at that point. You don't know what can happen. They just drafted Laletta in the 4th round.
Quarterbacks is always a lottery. Well, 4th, 5th, and 6th, like those guys that they fill roster spots with, I don't think they're ever looking at them to be the future.
I feel like they drafted Laletta just to appease ownership.
And fans, too, for them to cling on. Oh, no, we have someone waiting.
We were both wrong. Dak went 4th.
Dak 4th. I thought he was the 3rd round.
I would be fine. You look at the Giants' schedule. We talked about it, how hard it was in the first 7-8 games.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing almost all the teams that they played in the first half of the season made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, and then we saw them they were able to pull a couple wins together towards the end. Would they go 5-11?
5-11.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing. Obviously, there are a lot of holes on the roster, but I don't think that. It seems like Eli is not really the most pressing problem right now, and everyone's making it out.
No, and we definitely thought he was. At one point.
But he pulled out a really good year. They need help in other areas. So even if you don't draft a quarterback at 6, draft one in the 2nd round. Maybe make some moves because they have a lot of draft capital already with the trades that they did for like Eli Apple and Damon Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But I do think though you need to have a successor after going into the season. You have to know what the answer is one way or another.
And whether that's a 1st round guy or a 2nd or 3rd round guy, we don't know.
Or
I've just been bringing up Bridgewater a lot. I think he's going to end up on on the Jaguars or something. I could see him just putting a team like that over the edge that's been searching for someone.
Played in almost 3 years.
I definitely think he deserves a shot somewhere. But I feel like if around the league he was looked at as a long-term option.
The Saints traded a 3rd round pick for him.
That too, they might want to keep him.
I know, but they didn't extend him.
Well, yeah, but they're going to need a quarterback. Being 40 years old.
I feel like if they win the Super Bowl, Breeze might retire.
You think so?
and they love him. I was reading that they love him.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, they love Bridgewater.
What did he
The Saints.
do? What did he do in Week 17?
He didn't do that
They
well.
lost, right?
He threw like 13
got
passes
killed.
or something.
I just think if around the league he was looked at as like this long-term option that you think the Giants should look at him as, then he would be starting somewhere.
But I
already.
don't think
he
I
hasn't
think
played in 2 seasons.
I think that's due to
He
what
wasn't even that good when he was playing.
he was. But the
Always
Vikings
been
O
just
line was terrible, and they had nobody.
But
Was
what
he
is
And
not
they were
really
like
shown?
they went to the playoffs.
He had
and
14
I think the
touchdowns
reason-
and 9 picks.
I know, but he was young, and they were bad. Like the team overall was like
Yeah, but
offense
he's so
wasn't
far
good.
removed from playing. Like
he's
it's
played, but I think the reason he hasn't been signed to a team long term is because he almost lost his leg,
yeah.
and now he's
also
he's
was
played in the
never that good.
preseason. He's gone through 2 seasons now as a backup on a team. Clearly, he's practiced and done whatever. He's fine. He just played in the game. He's played in multiple games. I think he could be.
Hasn't looked like anything special.
But you
Yeah,
also
but how much of
you
it-
also brought up the problem that if if they go into next season with Eli, they won't be bad enough to take one of the top QBs available. But it's the same problem.
I'm
if they have
sort of
Bridgewater, it's the same exact problem.
I'm
But
sort
then
of
he could
banking
be
on.
the
I think
quarterback
he
if They're
can.
not that bad.
I'm thinking he can.
All right,
But
need a
then it's
quarterback.
just stuck in mediocrity.
I think he still has untapped potential. Especially Shermer was his coach,
Yeah.
so we'll see. But that's the
I don't
Giants.
know.
I think it's gonna be hard for them. I think they're in a very not a hard position, but they have talent, but they're also trying to look at the future. So it's like,
They're in a tough
where
spot.
do you go? Yeah. So we'll finish off. We're gonna talk about the Jets, and obviously, me and Alex are Jets fans, so we have a lot to say about this team. And they fired Todd Bowles, and they brought back Mike McCagnon. And there's been many people. Everyone, obviously, good fucking job breaking the equipment. Everyone wanted Todd Bowles fired. That's not an issue. The divisiveness is coming from bringing back McCagnon. And what do you think about that, Alex? Do you agree with that? And obviously Matt too, but I'm just asking Alex.
I'm fine with it just because he hasn't been given a chance to bring in his own head coach. You know, say what you want about his free agent signings. They've been pretty bad. Say what you want about his draft picks. They've been pretty hit or miss. But as with all GMs, you know, not all GMs are going to shoot 100%. I think give him this season. Give him a chance. I know they're not running out of time, but, you know, time is of the essence for them because they have these young guys on good deals and they have a lot of money to spend. But
Problem is, though,
he didn't want it wasn't his choice to have Bowles there. Give him a chance to find his own coach and see what you got.
The first time they met was right before their first press conference after being hired.
that was bad. That was very bad.
Yeah, it's just poor
But
ownership
The
decisions.
problem is, though, if it doesn't work out and they end up firing him next season, then they should have fired him this season.
I think they told him like you have a few years.
But what if he drafts bad players and spends the money wrongly and they have
I
to
mean,
fire him?
that's
Well, they don't need to stick to that.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm saying that's what I'm
That's-
saying. If they do fire him next season, then it should have been this season.
yeah, that's
because
the.
Yeah,
I mean,
of
that's
course.
of course the problem. Everyone,
like, you can't have to spend
you're sort
that
of
cap
banking
space.
on there will be improvement, and I've been thinking to myself about this, and I've sort of been back and forth on it. I look at some of his draft picks. I'm like, oh, he did find some decent players. You got guys like Herndon. Obviously, he got his Darnold over the. I mean, everyone
Darnold
likes to
was a
say. Everyone
no-brainer.
likes to say. And the reason I don't agree with this because everyone's like, oh, Williams, Adams, all these guys fell to him, but like GMs make the wrong pick all the time. All the time, people will pick someone else over who people think is the right choice,
They
and he
fell to
made
him
the
because
right.
Other GMs made the wrong decision.
Yeah, exactly. So he made the right
he
choice
made
and
the right
picked
pick.
these guys and recognized that they were the best player available.
He has
But-
made some good trades too.
He has. He's made some good trades. He got Henry Anderson, all that. But I do understand a lot of concerns because you're basically banking on improvement at this point. But I mean, you can also go to the coaching and say they drafted some players whose talents might not have been utilized correctly and put in the position to succeed because Todd Bowles and his staff have been stuck in these non-progressive ways for 4 years. And I was reading about how Hansen and Ardarius Stewart were John Morton picks. Like, he had a big say in that, and then he gets fired the next year. So they're the guy who wanted them on the team isn't even there anymore. So Todd Bowles probably doesn't care to use them in whatever way. He wants to run the ball, do whatever. So, I'm fine with it, but I'm still a little concerned. But I think I'm hopeful. I think
he deserves.
And you won't know, and like you won't know until after how it plays out if it was the right move or not. But I said this weeks like a long time ago when we were talking about Jets and their future, that you just had to have conviction in the decision. Like if you're gonna let him do this, let him spend all this money. Like you have to just fully believe that that's the right move, and we'll see.
I mean,
but
Chris
you don't
Johnson,
know right now.
who's his brother, Woody Johnson's brother, who's taken over since Woody's been in England or whatever. He's been backing McCagnon pretty hard, and he said like he has a plan and all this stuff. He believes in his plan, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And
they got to use that money on the correct players.
Yep. Obviously, they're interviewing for a new head coach. They've requested to interview the Chiefs' offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. Tampa Bay's OC, Todd Monken, and you got Cliff Kingsbury, He is the USC offensive coordinator, but he got hired a month ago. He was at Texas Tech for years.
And Mike McCarthy.
So it's clear that they're clearly looking at offensive-minded guys, which you like to see. But I've been saying this, it's not just about offensive-minded, it's about progressive-minded. If they, look at Harbaugh. I mean, he was a special teams coordinator and a defensive backs coach, but he's a great head coach because he knows how to hire the right staff, he knows how to motivate his players, he knows how to handle the team. Yeah, the Ravens, John. It's not just, everyone just thinks, offense. All naive Jets fans think offense, young, Sean McVay. That's it. If he's young and he knows offense, he's Sean McVay, will be great. That's not what it is. You just need someone who's willing to put the right staff around him and knows how the modern NFL works. Mm-hmm. But it is good to see that they're clearly thinking, all right, we have Darnold. Let's get someone in here who is going to make him great.
Does McCarthy know how the modern NFL works?
I don't want him. But
it just blows my
mind
how
it
just blows my mind how coaches can be so stuck in their ways.
And it's not working.
Don't they realize that what they're doing is not working? Everybody around them, all the fans, all the media, the players know that what they're doing is not working, and they just continue to
they're stubborn.
abide by that philosophy.
Losing their jobs because of it. Like week by week, Todd Bowles, you're losing your job by sticking with these.
But that's all they know, I guess. That's what they do. That's how they operate.
To adapt.
That's why I'm nervous about.
They're bad. That's why
this guy. Everyone seems to be high on this Kingsbury guy, but the last thing we did was hire a coordinator with no head coaching experience out of the blue, and look what happens. There's more to head coaching than just knowing offense. Look at we're interviewing this guy from the Chiefs. He doesn't even call the plays. He could end up being a great team manager, and he could be a great head coach, but Andy Reid calls the plays. So why do you want him so badly? Just because he's involved with the Chiefs, who have a great offense? That's really the reason.
Yeah. A lot of coaches who have coached under Andy Reid have gone on to be good.
I know.
Coaches.
No, I was watching interviews with him. He seems like an intelligent, smart guy. He knows the game.
Todd Bowles is also one of those coaches. So
really,
it's hit or miss.
I thought he was. He did work on.
Yeah, he was the defensive coordinator of the Eagles when he was there. I think
he was
for a season. He was their D-backs coach and then got promoted to defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. But Doug Peterson, Matt Nagy,
and now this guy is going to be
John Harbaugh.
Yeah, but they're clearly looking to help Darnold become the best he can be. And then I just want to say,
they'll definitely be able to attract a good one of the top options.
Yeah,
it's a very attractive offer team right now with the cap space and the young quarterback. I'd put them up there with the Packers and the Browns as most attractive head coaching vacancies.
Definitely. Sure. And especially with all the cap space and the high draft pick, all that.
Yeah, the high draft pick.
Yeah. So I just wrote this down. I'm just gonna spew it out quickly. Just what I think they should prioritize this season in this order: O-line, then pass rusher, then offensive weapons. I think you got to protect your young quarterback. That's the most important thing, I think, to any team, for any quarterback, is being protected.
The weapons won't matter.
Yeah, I understand the weapons are not great, but I think Darnold has shown he can make plays, he can throw guys open. I think he's shown that potential that if you give him time, and like Herndon is good. Him and Robbie have started to get a connection towards the end of the season. I still would like to bring in someone else because I don't trust Nunwa's health, but I still think we can work around it. And obviously a pass rusher I think puts that defense over the top. And in terms of the draft, I'd like to see them consider trading down, but after Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, not the quarterback Josh Allen, after his play in this past bowl game, whatever it was called, is it the Memo Bowl? I don't
Citrus
know.
Bowl,
It
I
could
don't
be.
Was
He
that or
had
the
3
Peach or
sacks. 3 sacks. He blocked a punt. Like it'd be
He's
hard
sick.
for me to see them pass him up
Yeah.
if he's available.
I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, they're definitely in a good spot. So that's me on the Jets. If you guys anything more to say about them?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think they're in a good spot. They can sit tight and just draft one of the top 3 prospects on the board. Maybe get that Josh Allen kid. I really like him. Or they can trade back.
The only reason if like somehow DeMarcus Lawrence or Jadeveon Clowney hit free agency and they sign one of them, and we're not able to stock up too much on the O-line, then I'll be like, okay, maybe trade down. But also,
free agencies first.
if you sign a guy like Lawrence or Clowney and then you can get Allen too, like what does that do to the defense? That's also a consideration to think of.
That would be my point. Spending all that money, but spending it wisely.
Yeah, for sure.
Making sure, because we've seen like the NFL, it's like very possible to have a quick turnaround and go from worst to first. Especially with the division looking like it could be opening up
with a quarterback prospect that you have,
exactly.
Darnold,
a young quarterback,
played a full season. It's not crazy to expect him to take a step forward next year.
While he's on a
And
rookie contract.
I think he even showed the last few weeks of the season when he came back from injury that he improved. I think.
So that's the thing: spending that money in the right areas, whether it be the line or either side of the line, and just taking that step, because like I said, like teams do it all the time.
Yep.
So the quick turnarounds, they happen, and when you have a top 5 pick, it's only better for you. Like that's why I think that the free agency is like more important for
the
them.
NFL more than any other league. You can go from worst to first in
Unless
a
you
year.
get LeBron.
Yeah, that happened. All right, so we're good on the Jets. We're good
Yeah.
on that?
Let's go to White Castle.
Yeah, we're about to go eat
Starving.
some fat ass fast food. But that was the first episode of the Memo of 2019. I thought it was a pretty good one. I had a fun time. Let me just advertise these hats that Alex's mother got for the 3 of us. These Memo hats. They're very
Thank
nice.
you, Lori.
Thank you very much, Lori. Love them. We were all going to wear them, but, only one kid showed up. But thank you for tuning in, as always.
Look out for us in Atlantic City.
Yeah, we're going to
over the
AC this
weekend.
weekend. We'll have some videos for you guys. It'll be fun. And, let's have a good year.
Go Chargers.